Hello once again to all my fellow moon lovers out there. If we've never met before, my name is Yelena and welcome to my channel. And if you are back for yet another video, then thank you so much. Happy to see you guys again. And we are concluding 2020 with a full moon on December either 29th or 30th, depending on where you live exactly, which is known as the cold moon. It's occurring at 9 degrees Cancer. Now, to be exact, it's about 8 degrees and 53 minutes, but for the sake of rounding it up, making it a little bit easier. And it's in a harmonizing connection with the planet Uranus, which is the planet of radical, rebellious, and unexpected change, whose ultimate goal is to free us and liberate us wherever pent up and stagnant energy resides. Now, you guys know that after this crazy year of 2020, I'm sure we can all see, not just in our personal lives, but obviously in the collective, in the world as a whole, that there is a lot of pent up stagnant energy in so many places. So it's inevitable that eventually a release will occur. And we do have a lot of Uranus energy coming up in 2021. So I think we're going to see a lot of this releasing, which is going to cause a lot of things happening in society as a whole, maybe happening in our lives, which may not keep us in our comfort zones, but ultimately will result in us creating a life that's better suited for us, which we may not have done ourselves, right? So Uranus is that type of energy that actually helps us get to a part of our lives, and it could be disruptive, but ultimately we will be happier in the long run, and it will be better for society as a whole. So this is very positive, being with the moon, being with this full moon. Now, if you are new to my lunar reports, we're just going to be going over the energies of this full moon, which is a nice little ritual and energy update astrologically, and then finalizing this beautiful ritual with a guided meditation. Today will be all about changing seasons in life, being that the winter solstice just recently passed, and all of the crazy transitional energies that we are currently inhabiting. A full moon occurs when the sun is directly opposite the moon in the sky. This is the brightest moon phase, where it becomes a little bit more difficult for things to lurk around in the darkness of the night, if you will. It's an illumination phase in all of our lives. So the sun is brightly shining on the moon. The moon doesn't actually have its own light, but it becomes like a mirror. It's a reflection of all the light of the sun, shining its light into even the darkest of corners to bring things that are normally hidden in the darkness to our attention. So energy levels are much higher at this time, and emotions may be just coursing through you in a much more heightened and noticeable manner, especially with the moon being in the zodiac domain of Cancer, where it feels most at home and in tune with itself. Now, in comparison to the cycle of plant life, the full moon phase of the cycle is when the plant itself has already went through so many building phases. It's popped through the dirt. It's gotten strong enough to have a really strong, tall stem. Its branches have grown big. It's already went through the budding stage, dug its roots deep down into the ground, and it's blossomed. Its fruit and flowers have all grown and are starting to ripen. So really, it's the pinnacle of this cycle of all of our lives. It's the harvest of all the hard work that we've put in up to this point. You will also begin to notice the areas in which change needs to be made in your cycle, where things might not have gone as planned and maybe improvements need to be made. For instance, this cycle will date back to the new moon in Cancer on or around July 20th. So if you take yourself all the way back to about July 20th, maybe it would help you to close your eyes and take a moment to just imagine, what were some of the different scenarios that were going on in your life at this time? Maybe you were starting to imagine of what you want to create, some of the changes that you'd like to make, some of the steps you'd like to take forward in the direction towards something. Taking this special time and focused contemplation will allow this beautiful astrological language of the universe to speak to you directly, and it will help to guide your life forward in miraculous ways. So a lot of people have no real idea as to why we follow these cycles and phases of the moon, but they help us to understand the different cycles and phases that we're each in individually in our own unique lives, which can really take a big weight off your shoulders when you know what phase of life you're supposed to be in. That way you're not, pushing against the grain or walking backwards upstream against the current. And all of these small adjustments that we make in our own lives leads us to big change and many life achievements in the long run. I know it might not seem a lot to make each little individual shift that we make, which seems very mundane on a day-to-day basis, but what we don't realize sometimes is these small adjustments are actually huge in the grand scheme of things. And if these little adjustments weren't made, a lot of times we wouldn't reach certain achievements, or sometimes circumstances in our life may worsen. It's the small details that matter most sometimes. So maybe back in July, you were starting to observe your bad habits in life and planning to make some changes. And over the course of the past 6 months, you made some profound changes, of course, and some shifts, but you might have noticed that you picked up another habit along the way. So this is just an example, but maybe swapping one addiction or one bad habit for another that's hindering you and that's happened somewhere along the way. So this is the time right now for letting go and making those necessary plans to change. Cancer is a cardinal water sign. So cardinal means initiation, starting type of energy. So you may feel an urge to take action right now in relation to an emotional desire that you may have. What is it that you need at this time to fulfill yourself emotionally? Family and home matters may be at the forefront for you. Are you feeling a push-pull between life's obstacles and the time that you're spending home with your loved ones? Be careful not to trample over others while working to fulfill your own emotional needs, or vice versa, maybe not filling up your cup because it's constantly being emptied by others. Now, if you've been putting in a lot of hard work and dedication in a certain area of life, this would be the time you receive a payoff. Your ripened fruit is ready to be picked and distributed to others. And no matter where you're at with this energy, it's important to accept and nurture where nurturing is due. Life is always in a different season for all of us, and when we become aware that this too shall pass, yes, the bad times and even the best of the best times, we then become much more emotionally intelligent and spiritually equipped to handle whatever season we step into next, and the life events that result from it. And I know this might all seem philosophical, but honestly, it helps you to better prepare yourself for the ups and downs, twists and turns, and roller coaster ride that we call life. When we allow ourselves to naturally walk through these natural cycles of the moon, we get in a flow with nature and the universe. And from experience, my own personal experience, your natural manifestation abilities tend to shift gears to a seamless execution, driving you directly towards the experiences best suited for you and your overall well-being, growth, and evolution. So whether the full moon cycle brings you stress and anxiety, or maybe much joy and an abundance of energy, let's take this moment to express gratitude for this evaluation and culmination phase before we transition next into the dissemination waning phase, where the moon gradually loses its light, and all the things that were illuminated during the full moon prompt us to shift, to make adjustments, to wrap things up, let things go, maybe forgive and declutter, and whatever else is necessary to prepare us for the new beginnings which await us once again. All right, On to what makes this full moon in Cancer unique from any other full moon in Cancer is the harmonizing aspect it makes to Uranus. This will make you organically open to initiating change in an area that you may previously have felt stuck. Uranus is the energy that helps you get unstuck. It's moving through an area of life which the house and your personal blueprint, known as the natal chart, is ruled by Taurus. Uranus takes about 7 whole years to transit each zodiac sign. It's a slower moving planet, which means that its effects are a lot longer lasting, and it shakes things up. It uproots them and creates dynamic change where you wouldn't have done it yourself. You may have felt stuck, or you maybe didn't even know that you needed change, with the end goal of really giving you more freedom, giving you a release of some sort, and liberation. Think of like a twisted garden hose that suddenly burst with water because of the built-up pressure of having it knotted up. This is how Uranus energy operates. And yeah, that can seem kind of scary because sometimes it's abrupt change that really shakes up the status quo of life. But let's be real. Sometimes we get really comfortable with where we're at and we stagnate in energy. This is just how a lot of human beings operate. It's completely normal. Don't be hard on yourself. That's why we have the influence of these planetary bodies that help to symbolically show us what's gotta go and what new will come in. Now, with the full moon connection, this is, of course, just a small chapter in the 7-year novel of Uranus and Taurus that may inspire us to take an initiative step in a direction which will shift the plotline of our story. This may come through personal encounters, exciting, unexpected events, or maybe through you being inspired to try something new. Follow your instincts and intuition. There's a lot of action-oriented energy here, which will take some action on your part, you becoming the initiator. So remember that. Be open to trying something different in your personal life and domestic affairs. You never know what this could shift for you. The full moon is also right next to a fixed star called Yelena in the sky. This connection signifies good health as well as societal and domestic benefits, which is news that I'm sure a lot of us are happy to hear right now after all of these difficulties and ill health conditions that 2020 has brought us. And finally, I want to read the breakdown of the degree point that this is happening at. There are these little stories that explain the degree points in depth, and they're called Sabian Symbols. Now, this text is by an astrologer named Dane Rudyard, which says, "A group of rabbits dressed in human clothes walk as if on parade." So this represents the tendency in all forms of life to imitate higher forms as a stimulus to growth. So that would be basically, kind of almost the fake it till you make it energy, but not necessarily, because your intention is behind putting your energy towards some new stage of life, something that you want to create and develop in your life. We've had a lot of changing energy this year, which has shifted a lot of us out of our careers. It has shifted our families and relationships in different directions. Maybe relationships are ending and it's directing you into a completely different relationship, or directing you more towards yourself, building your individuality and feeling more stable and whole within yourself. Whatever area of life this may be for you, it's basically the fact that sometimes we need a higher form, somebody that's already walked through the path that we've walked, maybe some type of educational pursuit that helps give us the information and knowledge that we need to execute what it is we're trying to execute. So he goes on by saying, this rather strange symbol points to what is essential in all first attempts at developing consciousness and furthering one's growth through association with those who have already reached a superior evolutionary or mental level. Every seeker looks for an exemplar. The religious mystic speaks of the imitation of Christ. In Japan, the music student sits in front of his teacher playing an instrument and carefully imitates his every gesture. So it's okay for us to look to someone for guidance. It's okay for us to look up to someone who exhibits the qualities that we are looking to build within ourselves. Obviously not trying to tie our energies within with that person completely and enmesh ourselves so that we lose our own path, but that may help during these unknown times. All right, there is our reading for today. Please stick around with me for our guided meditation. But first, I just wanted to make a small announcement that I'm offering one-on-one transformational coaching plus astrology and numerology sessions to help you guys achieve real transformation that will help align you with your goals, with the purpose and the energy of your soul. So I will help you in addressing any topic, including health, career, goals, finding more freedom in life, spiritual awakening, relationships, trauma, and even addiction. So if there's anything that you'd like to work through, maybe even just reviewing the tides of life in your astrology chart, seeing what might be coming into focus for you soon, you can contact me by scheduling a free 45-minute discovery session by clicking the link in the description box below. All right, so moving on to our guided meditation today. Go ahead and find yourself a comfortable seated position, or maybe even lying down on your bed, puffing up your pillows, really providing a nice support system for the entire body. Change and moving through the different seasons of life can be a bit scary, but it doesn't have to be. This meditation will illustrate how the change and new seasons can bring new blessings and opportunities into our lives. So just begin to let your body rest, becoming completely at ease. Drift in, a perfect place of mental relaxation. Begin to notice the natural rhythm of your breath. Surrender to a profound state of relaxation. Let it take over and go with it. Focus within and welcome this sense of peace. You are free to do as you please. You can drift in your own space and strengthen your focus on your breath. Or you can follow my voice and allow it to guide you even deeper. You, my dear, are aligned with the earth and all of its rhythms. The rhythms of the earth, like the rhythm of your breath, your heartbeat, or the rhythm of day and night, can teach you valuable lessons about the fluctuating nature of things. The sun rising and setting, the rhythm of the moon that waxes and wanes, the changing rhythm of the seasons, wintry coldness, warming to spring, summer heat, cooling again in autumn. Contemplate on these changes and know that you are a part of them. Recognizing the many changes in your personal life as well. Your rhythms, just like the Earth's rhythms, Release one thing and open to another. Think about the moon releasing her light to take on shadow, and the dark of the moon that turns toward growing light again. And that sweet sense of melancholy in the autumn when the leaves turn brown and fall gently to the ground. That sense of loss and ending, and knowing that autumn will change too. The sense of loss will give way to the stillness of winter, and then the return of light and life in the spring. One change making the next change possible. As you breathe, can you feel your own rhythm? And on your next breath, can you open to change in your own life? Your in-breath brings in oxygen and what is new. Your out-breath lets go of what you no longer need, changing with every breath. Change in your own life so that you can move as gracefully as the seasons. On your next breath, feel the breath and know that you are wise. From all the experiences of your life, you have learned from your mistakes, and you are at a place in your life when you know what you want and how to care for yourself. The wisdom you've earned in your life guides you through the change. And on your next breath, if you will, feel the breath fill you. Know that you are strong in your body, strong in your understanding of who you are. Your strength guides you through the changes in your life. On your next breath, can you connect to your sense of trust? Trust that the universe is sending you just what you need in each and every moment to grow and be fulfilled. So even if you cannot see the reason for change, even when you cannot fully welcome it, you hold this sense of trust. You trust that change will bring good things, even if you can't see them yet. And I'll ask you to ponder. Maybe you remember a time in your life when something changed, when something you wanted, something that didn't happen for you, or a relationship you value ended. At that time, you were filled with regret and sorrow. And then, in a year's time or two, you looked back and realized that the change was a good thing in your life, even though you hadn't been able to recognize it then. Can you remember such a time in your life when something you didn't want to change, but it did? Were you glad at that time? Like the leaves that fall in autumn, leaving the trees bare and making space for the new leaves that come in spring. time spent with your relaxed breathing and your body is calming and peaceful. On your next breath, if you will, return to the sense of calm and peace that you feel right now. It feels as though change moves you off balance. Move through the changes in your life as gracefully as you move through the seasons. Honor yourself for taking this time with your body and your breath. Take this time to strengthen yourself. Feel your connection to your body and to the earth and to peace. Take in 1 or 2 deep rounds of breath as we draw our meditation time to a close. Open your eyes, slowly fluttering them, and love who you are. When you're ready, begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Bring movement back to your body. Take as much time as you need to wake up your muscles. And if you're lying down, roll to your right. Push yourself up into a seated position. As you leave this meditation today, sweet soul, feel joyful and relaxed. Bring your hands to your heart in prayer and be grateful for the changes in your life. One long, deep breath in and exhale. Namaste. Thank you guys so very much for joining me for yet again another lunar report and meditation. If you're still with me, leave me a full moon emoji as well as a heart in the comments box below. Make sure to like this video, share it with anyone you think may benefit, and subscribe for more spiritual, astrological, and self-development content. Thank you so very much for being part of this community. Peace.